Over the past several weeks, the conflict between Russia and Ukraine has taken a dramatic turn, shifting from the front lines to deep within Russian territory. Ukraine has launched a series of daring, long-range drone attacks, striking at the very heart of Russia's economic engine, its massive oil and gas industry. These aren't just random attacks. They represent a calculated and sophisticated campaign designed to cripple Russia's ability to fund its war efforts and disrupt its domestic fuel supply. Today, we're diving deep into how Ukrainian forces managed to target and damage at least 5 major Russian oil facilities, examining the technology, strategy, and the significant impact of these devastating strikes. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe to Patriot Drone Lab for fast, reliable updates and breaking news you can trust. Let's set the stage. Since the beginning of the year, there has been a noticeable escalation in Ukraine's use of long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs. We've seen attacks on targets hundreds, sometimes over 1,000, kilometers from the Ukrainian border. This campaign marks a new phase in the war. It's demonstrating Ukraine's growing technological prowess and its strategic audacity. The targets are not military bases in the traditional sense, but critical economic infrastructure. By hitting oil refineries, Ukraine aims to inflict direct economic pain, reduce the fuel available for the Russian military machine, and create logistical nightmares for Moscow. One of the first major incidents in this wave of attacks was the strike on the Tups oil refinery, located on the Black Sea coast in the Krasnodar region. On January 25th, eyewitnesses reported explosions and a massive fire that engulfed the facility. This refinery is crucial not just for processing crude oil, but also for exporting petroleum products through its deep-water port. The strike reportedly damaged a vacuum distillation unit, a key component for producing high-octane gasoline and other valuable fuels. Hitting this specific unit wasn't an accident. It shows a high level of intelligence and precision, aiming to cause maximum disruption with a single blow. The psychological impact was also significant, bringing the reality of the war to a region far from the front lines. Just a few days later, another major facility was hit. This time, it was the Volgograd oil refinery, owned by Lukoil, one of Russia's largest oil companies. The attack caused a large fire and forced a temporary shutdown of some operations. The Volgograd refinery is one of the biggest in southern Russia, and its disruption has a ripple effect on the entire domestic fuel market. What's remarkable here is the distance. Volgograd is located deep inside Russia, showcasing the extended range of the drones Ukraine is now deploying. These are not off-the-shelf commercial drones. They're likely custom-built, long-endurance models designed specifically for these kinds of deep strike missions. The campaign continued to intensify. In February, the Ilsky refinery, also in the Krasnodar region, was targeted. This facility had been hit before, but the new attack was more significant, causing another large fire and halting production. The repeated targeting of facilities like Ilsky suggests a strategy of attrition. It's not just about one big hit. It's about sustained pressure that prevents repairs, strains resources, and creates a constant state of anxiety for Russian air defenses. Every time a refinery is hit, it forces Russia to divert precious air defense assets, like Panzer S-1 systems, away from the front lines to protect its economic heartland. This, in turn, creates new opportunities for Ukrainian forces in the combat zones. Perhaps one of the most audacious attacks was on the Ryazan oil refinery, located less than 200 kilometers from Moscow. This strike in mid-March brought the threat directly to the doorstep of the Russian capital. The Ryazan plant is a major supplier of fuel for the Moscow region. Reports and videos from the scene showed multiple drones hitting the facility, causing significant damage to its primary oil refining units. The precision was again notable. The drones appeared to target the most critical and expensive parts of the refinery, the distillation columns, where crude oil is broken down into various products. Pairing this kind of specialized equipment can take months, if not longer, especially with Western sanctions restricting access to technology and spare parts. Then came the strike on the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery in the Rostov region, a facility that has been a recurring target for Ukrainian drones. This plant is strategically important because of its proximity to the occupied Ukrainian territories, supplying fuel to Russian forces in the south. Hitting it directly impacts the logistics of the Russian army. The message from Kyiv is clear: nowhere is safe. Any facility contributing to the Russian war effort is a legitimate target. This strategy is also about economic warfare. Each successful strike drives up insurance costs, spooks international traders, and can even affect global oil prices. We saw a noticeable jump in crude oil prices following these widespread attacks, as the market reacted to the potential disruption of supply from one of the world's largest oil exporters. So, how is Ukraine pulling this off? The answer lies in a combination of ingenuity and necessity. Facing a much larger and better equipped adversary, Ukraine has invested heavily in developing its domestic drone industry. Reports suggest they are using several models of long-range attack drones, some with a range of over 1,000 kilometers. These drones are often built with commercially available components to keep costs down and allow for mass production. They are designed to fly low and use complex routes to evade Russian radar and air defenses, which are primarily structured to stop high-altitude threats like ballistic missiles and fighter jets, not swarms of small, low-flying drones. Furthermore, Ukraine is likely using sophisticated intelligence, possibly with help from Western partners, to identify vulnerabilities in Russia's air defense network and pinpoint the most critical components within the refineries. The choice of targets is not random. Hitting a distillation unit or a catalytic cracker has a far greater impact than simply hitting a storage tank. This points to detailed planning and a deep understanding of the industrial processes involved. The strategy is multi-layered. It degrades Russia's military logistics, inflicts economic damage, forces a reallocation of defensive resources, and delivers a powerful psychological blow. The Russian response has been a mix of downplaying the damage and vowing retaliation. While Russian officials often claim that most drones are intercepted, the visual evidence of massive fires and damaged facilities tells a different story. The attacks have exposed significant gaps in Russia's air defense umbrella, especially when it comes to protecting its vast interior. For a country that prides itself on its military might, the inability to stop these drones is a source of major embarrassment and a serious strategic concern. In response, Russia has often escalated its own attacks on Ukrainian cities and infrastructure. This cycle of retaliation does not solve the underlying problem of its vulnerable refineries. The long-term consequences for Russia could be severe. The country's budget is heavily dependent on oil and gas revenues. A sustained campaign against its refineries could reduce its export capacity and its tax income, directly impacting its ability to finance the war. Domestically, it could lead to fuel shortages, price hikes, and public discontent. We've already seen reports of some Russian regions introducing restrictions on gasoline sales. If these attacks continue and intensify, Russia might face a difficult choice. Either divert more resources to protect its infrastructure, weakening its frontline forces, or risk a slow-motion collapse of its energy sector. This drone campaign represents a brilliant example of asymmetric warfare. Ukraine, with far fewer resources, has found a way to strike back effectively, hitting Russia where it hurts the most. It's a testament to Ukrainian innovation, resilience, and strategic thinking. By turning Russia's economic strength into a vulnerability, Ukraine is changing the dynamics of the conflict, proving that this is not just a war fought on the battlefield, but also in the skies above Russia's industrial heartland. The coming months will show whether Ukraine can sustain this pressure and what Russia's ultimate response will be. Thank you for watching. This is a rapidly developing story and the strategic implications are huge. What do you think about Ukraine's drone strategy? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this analysis insightful, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our future updates. Stay informed and stay safe.